Hello, everybody. Welcome to Attitudes with Andy. Thank you so much for being here. This is the place where we get to learn and grow on how we can be our best selves from the awesome guests that we have on. Today, we have one of my favorite YouTubers, Miss Sophie Jayne Miller. If you guys have ever been curious about what a full-time YouTuber life is like, then this podcast is for you. We're going to be listening all about how she built her beautiful community, the lessons she's learned, and a little bit more about her. So whether you are a new follower or an old follower, I think you guys are going to get a lot out of this. So welcome to the podcast.
Wow, what an intro.
Oh,
What an intro. I don't think I've ever been presented before. I loved it.
oh really?
I was just sitting here just enjoying
I
it.
know. I always wonder whether it was a bit awkward for the other person.
No, I was like watching a podcast.
Okay, fantastic.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
I'm a bit nervous, but we're
Okay.
here. I haven't done a podcast in a while.
How long's a while?
I did have a podcast, so like that's different. But since I've been interviewed on one, a solid 4 years.
What?
Yeah.
We're dusting off the cobwebs.
Dusting off the cobwebs. That was my thing, because I was a bit like, a podcast, and then you sold me. You were like, no, it'll be so chill, we'll just chat. And I remember I said to you, I was like, I sometimes feel like I have nothing to say. And you were like, interesting, like a man has never said that to me before. And I was like, oh, interesting. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it.
Was that the turning point?
It actually was.
Okay, because I was like, oh, is that a bit ballsy if I
No.
say that?
Not at all. I love it.
But it's true.
Mm.
Anytime any of the people I've asked come on have questioned whether they were good enough to come on, it's always been a female.
It's interesting.
But they're always the most listened to episode is all the
Really?
females. Sorry, boys.
You're a loser. Kidding.
Turns into a feminist, right? No, I'm kidding. So, YouTubing.
Yes.
First of all, I would like to tell you a fun fact.
I'd love to know it.
Okay. I'd love to know it. That's good. Awkward if you didn't. Okay, so did you know this is just what I found on the internet, so don't come after me if it's not true, but I'm going to choose to believe it.
Yeah.
They did a study and they asked kids age 6 to 17 what they wanted to be when they were older. 75% said being a YouTuber
When was that study done?
last year in the US, but still.
That is crazy.
75%.
Wow. And the fact that it wasn't even a job 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and now 75% of kids want to do it.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, I know.
Insane.
So where I'm going with that, you're like, thanks for this fun fact. Where I'm going with that is you're living the dream that a lot of
75% of people want.
75% of 6-year-olds, 17-year-olds want. And so let's start off at the beginning. You have a beautiful community of over, I think, 250,000 friends on there,
Yes, on YouTube. Yeah.
which is
Crazy.
it's a lot of friends.
It's a lot of friends.
Imagine if you had to hug all those friends in one day.
Sometimes I wish I could. No, it would be a lot of hugs.
So if you want to, her address is.
My address is.
Okay, so I'm going to.
Yeah, we've got the giggles.
We've got the giggles. The vibes are high. Anyway, so yeah, you have a lot of friends. So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
What year did Sophie Jayne Miller start YouTubing?
Okay, so I asked my first camera when I was 14 years old, I think, for Christmas. And at the time I was watching so many other YouTubers. I feel like YouTube was just starting, maybe more so in America. The people like Bethany Motor, I'm not sure if you ever watched that clan, but they were the YouTubers, the OG YouTubers in America. And I remember watching them just being like, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with them, just taking around a camera and vlogging everything they do kind of thing. And so I would vlog literally everything I would do. I would vlog before school, after school, when any holidays, anything I would do. I'd edit them up and then they would just go nowhere. Then I'd just delete them. It was purely for a hobby. And
Why
so,
didn't you post them?
I think I didn't actually think it was something I could do. I was
okay.
I'm just little 14-year-old. Sometimes I wish I did, because
That'd be so
just so cute to look back on.
But also, you'd probably cringe years.
Oh, absolutely. I look back at last year's stuff and I cringe. So, but yeah, I just I always loved taking camera around and getting shots, and I loved the editing process. And so it got to maybe grade 11, and I was I think I want to start actually posting them instead of just deleting them as soon as I edited them. I actually started posting them, and so I think it was grade 11 holidays, and you'd get 6 weeks over the summer to just do whatever you wanted. I was like, I'm just going to film. And so I would like pick up and like film my day. I would do like, if I did like op shopping, I do like an op shop try on haul, blah, blah, blah. And I just started filming them and posting them. Got no views, like absolutely none. Like, you know, you get like your friends or like, I told one friend that I was doing it, and then my dad knew as well. And then so I would just post, and yeah, you'd get like 50 to 100 views or something, but it just didn't matter because like I just loved doing it so much. And I remember at the time being like, oh, because this was at the time where like it was starting to become people's jobs, I feel, more commonly. So I was like, oh, it would be amazing if it could, but it was almost like it was so unreachable, an unreachable goal almost, that I was just like, oh, like probably not, but it's a really fun hobby. So I just started doing it all through grade 11, and then I remember people started finding out, and boys in my grade started finding out, and that was the most terrifying thing. Like, you imagine being like in grade 12 and like you're walking past a bunch of people and they're all like looking at you and like imitating blogging and all that kind of thing. And I was like, I literally went home and I privated all of my videos on YouTube. Aww. I was like, I'm not doing this like that. Like, it was just, I also feel like when you're in school, like you care so much about what people think of you in your school. So I was just like, no, like I can't deal with that. I remember one of my guy friends was like, oh, so I found your YouTube video, and he like sent me a photo of him watching it. And it was like me in my bedroom. And I just felt it was such like a vulnerable thing to like for people at school to be seeing, like me in my bedroom, like me filming my morning routine, and like the guys at school are seeing that. And like, that was just like terrifying to me. So I put all of my videos in private for like a couple weeks. And then I remember my dad, who is amazing, and he was such a huge part of me kind of going down owning my own business kind of road, because that's what he did. And he really, you know, he never instilled in me like you have to go to uni to be successful. He was like, you can be successful like in so many other ways. He did go to uni, didn't use it, and then started a whole big business and is now a whole thing and super successful in that. So that was always like an inspiration to me. And I remember him saying, so like, you've got to look at the big picture here. Like, this is like, you're looking at it from such a small little perspective. Think about in 10 years time, if you continue to post videos, where you could be. And so I put them back, all of them on public, and kept going. And it's just crazy because now we always laugh about it, because I'm like, now I'm like living what you said. Like, imagine if you kept them up for another 5 years, another 10 years, and like could become something. So anyway, well, going
No,
on.
I actually have like goosebumps. That's really special.
So yeah, that's kind of how I started, and now we're here.
And now we're here.
Yeah.
Okay, so at what point did you actually start seeing momentum?
Yeah. Okay. So I was posting like not very much in grade 12, because like grade 12 is like a whole thing in itself, and I was maybe post like one video every couple months. And then I remember the end of grade 12, I was like, okay, I'm gonna like actually start doing this seriously. So I started posting.
Were you getting many views at this point?
Honestly, I can't remember. I don't think many.
Okay.
Like maybe a couple of videos would get like a couple thousand. I definitely wasn't making any money.
Yeah.
You have to like get to a certain, I'm not sure if it's changed now, but back in there you had to like get to a certain amount of subscribers and like watch hours for you to start earning money. And I hadn't reached that yet, so I wasn't making any money at all. And I remember being like, okay, like I'm out of school now. I wasn't going to uni. I didn't want to go to uni or anything. So I was like, I'm going to work a job so I can like earn some money, and then just like fully focus on doing YouTube. So I think I would post like sometimes like a few times a week, sometimes daily. Like I was really, really kind of like hustling. I remember I worked like probably like 40 hours a week, just like kind of casual, but you know, when like you're still working 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And I would go like work 8 till 4 or 9 till 5 or something at an ice cream shop. And then I would come home and film like 2-3 videos and spend the whole like night editing it. Like it didn't even feel like work, because I was just so in love with the whole process. So I'd get home and I'd be like writing at work on like sticky notes, video ideas and like all that kind of thing. So I'd get home and I'd like set up my camera and I'd film a couple videos and start like editing and everything. And it just felt so exciting. And it really, because at the time I was like, I didn't want to be working in an ice cream shop. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I was filling my cup so much by doing that. But it made it still exciting because I was doing something that I loved. So it made it feel like I was still working towards something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not just like going to a job every single day that I hated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would come home, film, edit, and then I think I did that for 2 years. I had like a couple of different jobs, like at coffee shops and the ice cream shop and stuff. And then it started to pick up a little bit. I think I might have had like 30,000 subscribers or something, and views started to pick up a little bit. Like just like over time I would post like daily a lot. Like did you ever watch like Vlogmas and stuff like that?
Yeah. I watched a lot of the British vloggers.
Me
like
too.
Zoe and stuff, and
Me too.
Joe Sugg.
Yes.
Love them.
I still do.
Yeah. Sorry, we still love you.
We still love you. So I would do that and like posting heaps and stuff. And then I don't even remember like if it was, later on, I kind of had a few videos that went viral and it like skyrocketed quite high from that. But like in the beginning, I still remember actually reaching 10,000 subscribers. I was at the gym on the treadmill. And I was just like walking and I just like checked YouTube and it said like 10,000. That was like, you get like the 10 and the K. And I was just like, like that's insane. But also subscribers mean like nothing to do with like how much money you're earning. So it was definitely not.
Really?
No, not at all. So it's just like views is like how much money you're earning from YouTube.
Right.
Yeah. So I was just like, I was gaining subscribers and like getting a decent amount of views, but definitely not enough to like make anything, like maybe $100 a month or something like that. So it definitely took a while. And then, I moved out of home and was still working my other jobs and still doing YouTube on the side kind of thing, just like being like, I really want to make this work. And then it was kind of like, it was December 2019, I want to say. I was writing an ebook at the time, like a cookbook. And I was just finding it really, really hard to do 8 hours of work a day, come home and then recipe test, take photos and film and everything like that. So I kind of was just talking to my dad and he was like, do you think you should just take the leap? Like quit your job, just like go full in kind of thing and then see what happens. And I was like, yeah, I think I do. Because if it doesn't work in a couple months, I can get another coffee shop job. Like it wasn't like I was in these crazy jobs that I had to like work my way up. Like I was just like a barista, like an all-rounder at the cafe. Do you know what I mean? And so I was just like, yeah, I think I need to take that leap. And I remember at the time, like I was earning enough just to pay rent and buy food. But I was just like, I think I need to. Like I felt this pull to do it. So I quit my job and I remember being like terrified. Like it's just like a weird feeling that first Monday being like, oh, I'm not going to work. And like I don't have someone to show up for. Like you're now doing it just for you. And
what was it like quitting? Because I think that would be so scary for a lot of people.
It was really, really scary because it's just like it's like your security. And like I was doing it on the side and earning a bit of money. So it was like, oh, like whatever I earned on top of my job was like extra. And now it's like, oh, that's now my only wage. But I remember it was terrifying. I luckily had a good manager who I remember sitting down with her and I was like, hi, like, she knew I did YouTube. So I was just like, I really want to like try and do this more full time, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I think that's great. And I think like it's a really good like step for you to take. And I think I was almost like not delusional, but a little bit, it's like being delusional is like kind of good.
Yeah.
Being delusional.
100%. You have to back yourself.
Exactly. So I was just kind of like, I think I can. And so I think I almost like didn't think about it too much. Because I was just like, if all goes to shit and I need to get another job, like I need to get another job. Like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. So it was scary, but I also was just like, like it'll be fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do remember that first Monday morning waking up because normally I started work at 6 a.m. on a Monday. I remember that first day waking up, like I didn't have to set an alarm. And then I just like got up at 6:30 or something. And I was just like, okay, like now I've got so much time. Like I'm used to fitting in all of my YouTube and everything work from like 4 p.m. onwards, and now I've got the entire day to do it. Like that's crazy. And it was almost like really weird going from that, trying to fit everything in so quickly to having a 12-hour day to do it. So it took a while to kind of like get into a good workflow and actually have balance.
I swear when you have like too much free time, you do like nothing.
Exactly. It's like when you've got like something at 12 p.m. right? And you wake up at 7 and so you're like, oh, I should do the washing before then. And you leave it to like 11:45 and to do the washing. But it's just like if you have so much to do that day and like a time crunch, like you get it done.
Yeah.
It's just like you take so much more time. So like procrastination was a whole thing. But then I would like get to the other end where I was just working 24/7. And then Sam, my partner, would be like, he'd come home from work and then I'd just be working hours and hours and hours more. And he'd be like, you need to actually like mentally switch off more than anything and take like a mental break because then I was kind of like getting burnt out kind of thing. Anyway, so this was December, so I work on my cookbook all December. I'm doing Vlogmas. I'm like filming and editing every day, just like literally loving it so much because I'm like, I can't believe this is my job. And then it was really crazy how it all happened, right? So I posted this video of like just like my health and fitness and all that kind of thing, and I talked about my ebook in this ebook that had just launched on the 1st of Jan 2020. And so I talked about the ebook and how I was like, these are the recipes that I've made and this is what I've been eating and I feel really great kind of thing. And it just kind of blew up. And it was insane. It was interesting as well because it didn't really do that well at all for like maybe a month or two.
Wait, the ebook or the video?
The video.
Okay.
But so in the video, I talked about the ebook.
Right. Okay.
So I went from kind of being like, oh, I can like just pay rent and food to I posted this video. It kind of did, yeah, like all right for a couple months. And then all of a sudden, I think YouTube just put it on suggested page and it was just getting so many views. And because I linked my ebook in the description box, then all of a sudden the ebook just went crazy. I was so shocked because it was really like something that I wanted to do for ages. And yeah, like maybe it'll help like me earn a little bit more money at the time. But I just never, ever, ever expected, like it was a $15 ebook. And I sold.
That's nuts. What was it like? Did that all just come into your bank account? Were you there like, oh, this is nice?
I was like, oh, what do I do with it? It was the weirdest feeling as well. Because and as well, it didn't like happen, like all of that didn't just like come into my bank at once. Like it was like over a couple years kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like still for it to just like, you know, when I first launched it got like maybe a couple hundred downloads or something like that.
And that probably felt awesome as well.
That was incredible. I was just like a couple hundred. That's wild. And then, yeah, that video just kind of hit the recommended page or something. And then I was just from that point on, I was like, okay, like I think I can make this working for myself work. And then kind of YouTube just took off from there. And then I think like a few months later, I hit 100,000. And that was when I was like, okay, I got like the YouTube plaque and I was like, okay, like, am I a YouTuber now?
Oh my
gosh.
So. I think I have earned it.
Maybe I am.
What was it like unwrapping that plaque?
It's the most surreal feeling ever. I've watched, as I said, I watched so many YouTubers growing up, so I'd watched so many people unwrap theirs.
Whoa.
And I remember putting like a plaque and I like photoshopped Sophie Jayne, because that's my like YouTube name. I photoshopped that onto a plaque and popped it on my vision board. And I still remember, I think it was my 2020 vision board. I had like a photo of a dog, which turns out to literally be the dog that I got. It was crazy. A house, which is like the house we moved into, and the YouTube plaque, and it had like Sophie Jayne written on it. And then I remember unwrapping it, and I remember looking at that vision board being like I you know, got the glue out, stuck it on at the beginning of this year, and now I'm like looking at it and it's my life. It was so crazy. It was like a aha moment where I was just like, oh my gosh, I've done what I said I was going to do. Do you know what I mean? It was crazy.
It's so special. Yeah. Okay, there's a lot I want to unpack there. First of all, I just want to say your dad seems like a king, and he sounds like a very special person in your life.
He is an absolute king.
Like bloody words of wisdom.
Yeah.
At times when you really needed that advice.
Yeah.
We love.
100%. We love.
We really do.
kings.
If you're listening, we love you. And second of all, huge respect, because I think a lot of people would start a YouTube channel, do it for a few months, not see and be like, no one's watching. This is a flop, and quit.
Yeah.
Whereas like you did it for years before you actually like got any financial reward from it.
Yeah. And I think YouTube and a lot of social media and even any businesses that you start is like that. Like people kind of expect this like short term kind of like a hit of, I don't even know, like a hit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not gratitude, but like this short term, like
Gratification, instant gratification.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
I was like, gratitude? Yes, it's instant gratification when they start something like this. And because it's not hard in the sense of like, oh, it's like very hard to post a video, but it's like, you know, it's a very vulnerable thing to do. And then you think about people in your life seeing it and then people making fun of you and you're just like, oh, like it feels scary to post yourself online and just like think about what other people are kind of looking at you and then thinking. And so I feel like a lot of people, because often some people will come to me and be like, oh, like, you know, I've been doing it for like three to 6 months, a year, and like I'm just like not getting the views I'm after, I'm not getting this. And I'm just like, I really think, and because people just see you where you are now, it almost looks like you like got it overnight or something. But and sometimes even I forget too, they're like, because I'm like, now that it's just so normal that I do this, and a lot of my friends are also YouTubers, so it's like it almost seems normal. And then I'm like, oh, but there was probably like 2 to 3 years where I was doing it, making like nothing from it, getting little to no views, going to like parties and people like mocking, vlogging, being like, oh, hey guys, like kind of like mocking me and stuff. And like that's, when you're young, like that really is a hit to your ego. And I think it is like your ego at the end of the day that you just need to actually like fully let go of and be like, I can't let my ego choose what I do right now. Like you're going to have to, it's a long-term game. And like maybe some people, they post one video and they go viral and that's just like their career. And like, I'm sure that happens to some people, but it's just long-term and you've got to, because it's almost like I've been doing this for a year and I'm not getting anywhere. Like that's your ego that's like hurt. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially if you love it like I do, and like it is actually something you really want to be doing. When it's not like, when you're working on something, it's like if you were like eating really well and working out at the gym, right? And like it's a year later and you're not getting any stronger, and you kind of go, oh, that's so disheartening. It's almost the same kind of thing where like I've been working at this for a year and I'm not seeing any results. It's almost like that ego is just getting hit and you just feel like disheartened and everything. But
did you experience that?
yeah, definitely. I feel like in the first year, I reckon I did. But I think I honestly think the love for it came back to like I would be doing this even if I didn't make anything from it. But I also was just like, I know that it's a long-term game. Like stick in it. I think I remember saying to myself once, I don't think I've ever even said this to anyone. It was kind of just like a goal that I set myself, was like, do it for 5 years. Then if you still are going like, nah, like it's not going anywhere, then you can like rethink it, but give it like a shot and not just like a year shot. Like a year is like nothing, I feel like. Do you know what I mean? But it feels so long when you're doing it and working so hard at it.
Yes, yeah, definitely when you're not seeing result, because like progress is happiness, and when you feel like you're not progressing, you're like far out. Like I've definitely like a month or two ago, I made an episode basically me being like, guys, I want to quit because like everything like was growing and then it just like sustained and even like plummeted a little bit, and I was like, oh my God, this isn't working, this isn't going well, like I quit. And then like I spoke to my sister and she calmed me the F down and was like, look at the bigger picture and like think about the networks and everything. And I was like, yeah, I know, but like I get it. Like when you're putting in so much love and energy into something and then it's just like not.
It's not giving you anything. It's like being in a relationship and you're giving someone everything and they're giving you actually nothing back. And you're like, how do I keep doing this for you? Like it's driving me insane. It's interesting as well because even after kind of like having a few viral videos and growing, like reaching that 100K, and I remember my videos were doing quite well, it happens all the time. And I've spoken to this so much with my other YouTuber friends, but like it's so normal for your views to go down and you hit a wall and you might be losing subscribers and you might be losing views. And even that is almost like a hit to your ego even more, because you're like, no, I had something and now it's like leaving. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like a whole thing to work through of like, am I putting all my value in like views, but then views is my career and then I am career driven, so does that mean my career is failing? And it was a whole thing I went through last year when like I kind of had like this high with YouTube for a couple of years where it was just growing and then all of a sudden just stopped, and then it just kind of like declined a little bit, and I was like, oh, who am I without like growing, honestly, because you get so used to it. And that was a whole thing to work through too.
How did you work through that?
I think again, coming back to ego, like I think it was a huge ego thing, because at the end of the day I was still making enough money to call it a job very easily, and I was still so happy with that. And I think you just get so swept up in the idea of it all, and then you're just like used to, you know, the growth and the comments and everything, and then you got to sit back and you're going, and then you got to think like, okay, I think I got to a point where I was like, there's so many highs in this business where it's just like high after high after high. And then so when you hit a low, it literally just feels like you just failed everything. And so I think I was just so used to seeing like the wins. And then you just, it falls and you go, oh, like have I put all my value in likes and comments and views? 100%. And then it was this whole thing of like, but it's not even the views and the likes that I care about. It's the fact that my career is no longer on a like upward trajectory. Trajectory. I could never say that word. Why did I try?
Trajectory. Well, I can't say it either.
Trajectory. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I was just so used to it, and then it was just kind of like I had to sit with myself and be like, why'd you start this? Because you love, you know, you love filming, you love editing, you love that connection that you get through people who are all over the world who are watching your videos being like, oh my gosh, I feel the exact same. Like, I feel like I could actually say anything online and there'll be comments from people being like, I've gone through the exact same thing. This is what I dealt with. And this is how I got through it. And I'm like, wow, like it's so reassuring. And I love being a reassurance to other people, and I love people reassuring me. And so I think I just got back to a point where I was like, you know what? I still have this beautiful community watching my videos, and I want to just post for them and them alone, and also myself, because I just love it. And it's just so, and you know, in a business, when you go into business, you know, it's not just going to be up and up and up and up and up. You know what I mean? But I expected it to in like just subconsciously, I was like, oh no, but it will. And then when it doesn't, you're like, oh, and then you just kind of got to work through and be like, okay, why do I feel that?
A very powerful lesson, because tying your like self-worth up into like whether it's views and comments or like how much money you make or any of that, it can be so dangerous because some things like views and comments is out of your control, but the type of content you put out is in your control.
Exactly.
And like, whilst I cannot relate to you at all, like because you're on a much bigger scale, like for me, I flipped it. And now I'm like, if I interviewed well and I connected really well with this person and I learnt a lot, then that's a success for me. And now I'm like trying not to look at the numbers because I'm like, just trust it, play the long game, as you said.
I remember one, I don't remember if it was on a podcast or something that I heard it, but someone said with content creation, whatever that is, if it's YouTube, podcasting, whatever, like TikToking, any social media platform, every single video or piece of content that you make is like buying a ticket to the lottery. And so every single, the more tickets you buy, the more likely you're going to win. So every single piece of content you put out is like buying that another ticket. So, you know, you might now have 100 tickets versus like 3. And so you never know what that winning piece like is going to be. And I think when I heard that, I was just like, oh, that's so true. And then, you know, you might have a slow year where you're like, oh, like nothing is just popping off. And then all of a sudden like 3 will pop off and you'll be like, oh, and it's because you just continue to stick with it and you continue to post weekly and focus on actually making really, really good content. Like you were saying, like making good interviews and like the right people will find it. And then all of a sudden it's almost like you'll win that lottery and you wouldn't have done it if you didn't post that 100 times. You know what I mean?
I love that.
As soon as I heard that, I was just like, that's something I need to actually remind myself of so much.
Oh my gosh. Every time Sophie posts, she's getting a lottery ticket.
Now you'll see it and you'll be like, that's another lottery ticket.
I love that. Okay, I'm going to look at that as well. It's so true. One of my friends, he had like 1,000 followers on Instagram. He's a YouTuber. Yeah. And Smile More with Sammy. Check him out. And,
I will.
and then one of his videos went absolutely viral. Now he has like 90,000 followers on YouTube, on Instagram, sorry. And he's just like, how? Oh, hello.
That's the thing. Like, you just never know.
Yeah.
You never know what would just blow up. And then you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was even like at the beginning of the year, because obviously like Reels has like really become a thing on Instagram. And I was posting heaps because I love making Reels. There's just something about Reel that I just
I'm a
love.
slut for a good Reel.
I'm a whore for a Reel. Like TikTok, I could like take it or leave it, but a Reel, love it. Like I just love it. Anyway.
Agreed.
So I always post. But like, you know, nothing would like go crazy. And then recently I've just had a few that just have. And I'm just like, you never know. And it's the ones that you don't even like try. It's the ones that you don't put effort into. And you're just like, oh. The one I spent 3 weeks editing has 10,000 views. And the one that I spent 10 seconds editing has 4 million. Cool. But that's the thing. Like you just gotta, as long as you like love the content you're posting and like would love to see other people posting, I always like post stuff that I would love to consume.
Yes. Love that.
Like, whatever pops up. And then there you are.
I do feel a big shift. As I said, I genuinely have been watching you like for a few years. That sounds creepy.
I've been watching you.
I've been watching you for it. So that was such a strange thing.
And so
I was trying to give you a sincere compliment and I just sound like a creep.
No, to be
been watching on YouTube.
Because I'm such a YouTuber fan, I get it.
Yeah.
Like I would say that to any people I follow on YouTube. I've been watching you for years.
Anyway,
I love being watched.
And I feel like this year, correct me if I'm wrong, but just from watching your YouTube videos, I just feel like this year you've really like fully come into yourself and I've felt this shift and you can just feel it through the screen. And I just feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just feel like you're quote unquote sliving.
To be honest, I feel the same, but I thought it was because I had done a lot of growth. So like I thought it was just something that I was noticing in myself. And so I think I've just stepped into the type of person I am and the type of person I want to be this year. And I'm not sure if that is because of the age that I am or like, you know, like maturing and growing up. But I think I just like, it was just this year I became so much more confident in myself. And therefore my videos were just like an example of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you could feel it through the screen.
Yeah, like and even when I pick up a camera now, I feel like before, not that I would ever put anything on, but it would feel a little bit like, oh, like this is going on YouTube. Now it's just like, oh, like this is what I'm doing. And I don't know, it feels so much more flowy and clean. And it just, I don't know, I did feel that with myself. And it's really like nice to hear that you could tell from the other side of the screen. Do you know what I mean? Because like I can tell from myself because I think I've just grown a lot as a human in the last 6 months. But yeah, that's really cool to hear. And I also think, you know, when you've been filming yourself for that many years, you do just start getting a bit more confident. You don't like you are just yourself in front of the camera instead of like putting on some sort of like. I remember me and my friends always joke about. You go back to my old YouTube videos and like don't do it. They are still live, but don't do it. And like you can tell I'm like talking in a different way. Like my voice is like, "Hi guys." Like, it's like as soon as the camera turned on, I would start talking like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I did that.
Well, I think everyone does that. Like if you
to
put a camera in front of anyone, you're just so aware that there's a camera on you.
Yes, absolutely. So
sure.
I think just after a few years or so many years of doing it, it's just like you just don't change yourself anymore.
Yeah.
When you like put yourself on camera.
And then people love you more because it's the real you.
It's actually, very genuine.
Okay, so if somebody's listening to this and they're like, you've sold me, sister. I'm ready to play this long game and I'm ready
You're part of the 75%.
You're part of the 75%. Welcome to the club. And they want to start a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give for somebody, especially if they're scared, nervous of like judgment from others? Because I imagine that would be a big barrier to entry.
Huge. Okay, I think I would start by like, okay, well, do you love consuming content and what kind of content is that? And can you also like see yourself producing that side of like same type of content? Like you were saying before, you love the British YouTubers the same. Like I love the Zoes of the world and all that kind of stuff. So I look at my content, I'm like, it's obviously very me, but it's along the similar vibes where it's just like, it's just me taking you along with my life. And that's always been where I've kind of wanted to go. But like, do you love baking and do you want to take it that way? Do you love fashion and do you want to post hauls and that kind of thing?
Like what's in my bag? I loved it when I was like, what is in her bag?
I'd love to
tell
know.
Me.
Tissues, like deodorant, I want to know everything. Well, that's it. Like, you know, collective hauls, like all that kind of stuff, like clothing hauls. Well, what do you want to do? I think that's like the number one thing to start because then you've kind of like got a bit of a vision. Like you can of course start with the vlogs, but I think it's like very smart to start in more of a niche and then you can kind of like spread yourself out afterwards. I remember hearing a quote once. It was like, imagine like a tree growing. You've got to like establish like the tree trunk before it can like grow its leaves and like all of the little branches go off from the tree.
Right.
So it's like you almost like pick a niche-ish. Yeah. And you sprinkle your your personality and that so people get to know you. And then once you've kind of got this like bit of a community, then you can go into different other branches and people, I think, I've got so many ideas. I'm just like, so much to say. But I also think it's so important to show you because at the end of the day, people can, you know, like a cooking video, they can like a fashion video, but what will keep them coming back is you. What makes like your haul different to another person's haul? Like, do you show your personality? Are you like funny? Are you just like a friend to someone? Like, thinking about like someone like Zoe Sugg. If anyone doesn't know her job, just in case. She could post talking about quite literally anything and I would like watch it because I like her as a person. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so show your personality so that people can be like, oh, I quite like that one.
Exactly. And like all of my favorite people online, I don't really like because like they're fashionable or like they post pretty photos. Like, yeah, of course that like helps sometimes to like find someone. But like what makes me stay around is like, are you like, do I like you as a person?
Yeah.
So show your personality. Don't be afraid to like be vulnerable and show if your friends and family are comfortable, like show that. Like people love watching friends and family. And I always think about like, you know, when you find a new TV show you love, like you love all the characters in it. Yes. So it's almost like, I think that's a huge reason why I love other people's YouTubers and other people's YouTube videos and vice versa. It's because it's like you're seeing this character and all the other characters in their lives and it's so interesting to watch. So I think just like being like, showing personality, picking a bit of a niche if that's something you want to do, and just keep at it, keep buying lottery tickets.
Yeah, just keep at it, play the long game.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know about YouTubes, but I know there's a YouTubers. I don't know about YouTube, but there's a statistic where it's just like something crazy, like 87% of podcasts that start don't go past their 4th episode.
Really?
Yes. So I think there are a lot of people, whilst you might think, oh my God, there's so many people who have a YouTube channel or a podcast or whatever, there's not that many people who are just like constantly showing up. So I think if you just show up, then you're the rare person.
Did you ever follow Emma Chamberlain?
Yeah, I love Emma.
Yeah, me too. So I remember hearing her say that she posted on YouTube for like a couple of years and got like no views, like didn't grow at all. And then I I think she was posting like fashion stuff or something, and then she started a new channel and like kind of changed her tune and like showed more personality and stuff, and like blew up in like a year.
That's so funny because I only heard about her posting for like 3 months during the summer and then she blew up. So she had a channel before. Because I was thinking, well, lucky duck.
I know, like, wouldn't that be nice? No, yeah. I remember hearing her say that she actually, I think it was, like I could be wrong, but I think it was like she posted like fashion videos. And like they didn't do well at all. And then she was like, oh, okay, like this isn't me. And then like started a new one and yeah, it blew up.
Oh, love that. Yeah, don't be afraid to pivot either.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, I was telling my housemate, Savannah, she also watches your video. She said, tell her I watched her most recent video. And I was like, I will. But I was saying in the car ride, I was just like, there's actually not a lot, but there's, you know, people who do kind of maybe similar like lifestyle stuff, but I don't really get entertained by their stuff. But I just love watching your personality because you're like, that's, you know, real. And I'm like, here for it.
I think it's a personality that comes through.
It's the personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like someone could be like the most beautiful content and like great house and great everything. But if you're just like showing no personality, like I couldn't care less.
Yeah, get in the bin. Yeah. Sorry. We're here for realness.
Exactly. So yeah, just like I think that's the most important part.
Yeah. And just start.
And also back onto the point of like 87% of people like stopping podcasting after the 4th episode.
Yeah.
Even though there's so many people on YouTube and stuff, there's also so many new people constantly going on YouTube every single day. Like YouTube and social media is only getting bigger. So it's kind of like, I feel like it's a bad way to look at like, oh, there's already so many people. But it's like, yeah, but there's so many more people coming on to watch who want to find new people. I always want to like find new people on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean. I'm picking up.
I say, you know what I mean too much. It's how I like finish a sentence. Even if I've said nothing that's like that crazy. I'm like, you know what I mean?
I've done that as well. I've found I've been doing that and I'm just like, do I need clarification that they know what I mean?
No, you don't.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean, right? Yeah.
So I know every day must be different, but what's an average day of Sophie Jayne Miller look like?
Well, that's a good question. Okay, normally I wake up. I'll take you through the whole thing.
Please do.
I wake up like around 6-ish. Sleep is a huge priority for me, like a huge, huge priority. So I always like try and like I did go through a phase where I was like, wake up at 4 a.m. and get things done. And then I was also like, you do work for yourself and you do get a choice. So maybe like honest sleep because it's like maybe one of the most important things for your health. So
it alters moods like nothing else.
Nothing else. I've listened to so many like sleep podcasts and they're just like so many sleep schedules being like, this is the most important thing, like sleep. Anyway, so I'll make sure like I don't wake up too crazy early. I'm lucky enough to not have to set an alarm most days. So wake up usually just like with the sun.
Oh, what a vibe.
Yeah, I enjoy. Then I open my blinds straight away, see sunlight straight away, not phone, not any artificial light straight away.
Andrew Huberman would be proud.
Thank you. Thanks, Andrew. So yeah, do that, make the bed. Kind of, I feel like starting the day with like a few things that like, making the bed's not hard, but like starting the day with like a few things that almost like get your mind in that like I'm completing tasks today. I'll make the bed, like I'll unload the dishwasher and like put everything away. It's like completing a few like easier tasks that just like get your, like you get on that roll. So I like to do, like I love a slow morning. Then I'll make my bone broth and I'll make my
how good's bone broth?
Oh, like I don't go a day without it.
I'm obsessed.
I don't go a day without it. So I have that, I have my greens and I sit in the sun. Sometimes I'll like read for a bit. And then I'll usually go off to like some sort of workout, like either the gym or a Pilates class or something like that. Come home, shower, get ready. I find getting ready and like actually getting out of active really like helps me kind of get things, because like when you work for yourself and you work from home, like you could stay in your pajamas all day and like get the same amount of work done. But it just like doesn't make me like feel like I've completed a day. And I feel like there was a time where I would stay inactive all day or something like that. And I get to the end of the day and like not feel like I had a productive like completed day. So I feel like almost like treating my work like I'm like going to work. Like I get into a nice outfit, I might like do my skincare, go crazy. If I'm filming, like I might like, you know, do my hair and makeup and stuff like that. And then I'll usually go into my office, write a to-do list. First thing is like kind of going through my to do of like some days are filming days and I'm like, okay, I'm filming this today. Some days are more like I've got this meeting, some days are emails, some days are blah, blah, blah. The beauty of what I do, and I literally count my lucky stars every single day because I just love what I do so much, but there's so much freedom with it. And so if I want to take myself to a coffee shop and do that, I can. If I want to go to the beach and do that, I can. Like it's truly just like a dream. But this is like a typical work day, I suppose. So I'll like, head into my office, do some work, film. And the other thing, because I weekly vlog most days, week, sorry, it's almost like I need to like go out and do things do you know what I mean? Like for the video.
Love that. You're like, fine, I'll have to go to that water park.
Fine, I'll go book shopping again. But it's really good because it pushes me to go out and like be productive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's really hard to actually say like what a day is because it just changes like basically every single day. But I have the same kind of morning routine and night routine. And then kind of what's in the middle of that, like what's in the 8 to 10 hours in the middle changes a lot. But then the slow mornings and the slow evenings are like so important to me. And I feel like just my mental health and how creative I am and how good of a partner I am and a friend I am. So I always prioritize that morning that I really, really enjoy and that night that I really enjoy.
What's your nighttime?
Tell us. So normally I'll go for a walk. I'll take my dogs for a walk, being the good dog mom I am. But it's also a really good way to like get off my phone and like switch off for the day. And I always go like sunsets, and I love to like walking around the sun setting. Everyone's making dinner, so you smell all like the beautiful like food that is being made around your neighborhood. And then I'll come home, and almost that is like my like signal for the end of the day. So I'll come home, then I'll usually like make dinner, and then either like sit at the table and kind of like debrief with Sam about the day, or like we'll sit down and watch a show or something till like 7:30. And then I'll make my way up, have a shower, do my skincare, like really like take my time. It's almost like I love to romanticize everything I do because it just like, it makes me feel so much like more, I don't even know, like it's like I'm just doing self-care. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing my skincare, but it's a process, and like music is on. And then I will usually head into bed around like 8. I love an early night.
I love that. Grandma life.
Grandma life is the best. And then I'll put my red light on because I've heard red light is really good for sleep.
Oh.
I have one of those IKEA lamps that like changes colours.
That's literally just the colour of red.
Yeah.
Love it.
So it's just red. So it's just like it's a perfect amount of light, and then I pull out my book and I'll read for like an hour or something. And then I put my brown noise on. Do you listen to brown noise?
I'm sorry. There's brown noise. I thought there was white noise.
Okay, so there's white noise, there's brown noise, there's like pink noise, there's a lot of noises.
What's brown noise?
Brown noise is, I think it's like what, I think it's what people put on for like babies.
Okay, what does it sound like?
It's like kind of lower than white noise. It's more like, okay, the best way I describe it is like, you know, like a plane, like lull, or like when you're in the car.
Yeah.
And it's like the car lull.
Yeah.
Like that always puts me to sleep, right?
Yeah, I can sleep in the car like no tomorrow.
Me too. And on planes.
Yeah.
I love sleeping on a plane.
Yeah.
And so it kind of is just like this like, it's nothing like that. But it's like this like low like lull. And I'll put that on and it just like puts me straight to sleep.
Wow, okay, I need to try that because I
too.
really struggle with sleep. Like, I don't want to identify as someone who struggles with sleep, but I need to accept it. Do you also struggle?
I've struggled with insomnia for like a lot of my life.
Oh,
yeah. So I get it.
Awful.
I also make myself a little hot chocolate that has ashwagandha and it has pistachio extract, which helps you fall asleep in it.
Oh,
like
smart.
Janora. You should get on it.
Janora.
It's a brand, Janora. It's like the night, like hot chocolate. So I'll make that. And that has helped so much.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to lie in bed for hours awake.
It's the worst.
It's the worst.
And especially like my brain's like, oh, and I can do this. Yep. Oh, I can do it. And I'm like, Andrew, go to bed.
Literally, especially when, and I'm sure you're like me, like I value my health and sleep so much. And it's like, I'm lying in bed right now trying to give my body what it wants and it's not letting me.
No, literally.
Oh,
yes.
And then you get angry and then you can't fall asleep.
Yes. And then I'm like, stay calm. Literally last night, 6:30, I turned off my phone, was not on my screen. I like made sure I ate dinner earlier. I had a magnesium bath. I had magnesium pills. I had magnesium spray. I read. I like played Zen music. I did everything. And you know what? I was still awake at like 11 o'clock.
No, like I get it. I really get it. And there's nothing more angry. You're lying there and you're just tossing, turning. You're like, I've got to get up early. And you just want to have a good night's sleep. And then you hear like some people who's like, oh, I just hit the pillow and I'm asleep straight away. And I'm like, cool. Like I hate you.
and then if you're sleeping in bed with someone, And my boyfriend's just out and I'm like, don't do that.
No.
No.
I hear Sam snoring and I'm like, cool. Yeah, you're asleep already. It's been 5 minutes. Yep. My brown noise. Sometimes I hear my brown noise turn off. That means I've been laying there for an hour. And I'm like, deep breaths. And you don't want to get too angry because then you just know it's going to be hard. So you're like, calm. I'm like taking deep breath in, holding it for 5, breathing out for 4. I'm like trying to do breathing techniques. Like it's a whole thing.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know who I'm getting angry at.
No. Me, him, the dogs, the wind, everything.
Oh, glad we had a good rant
Anyway.
about that. So you obviously must spend a lot of time like on screens, you're editing and stuff, and then also on Instagram because you have a presence there. Are you on TikTok?
Like yes, but like,
I don't vibe with TikTok.
I don't vibe with it. I maybe post like once a month.
Okay.
Like maybe.
Yeah.
If I feel like it.
Feeling crazy?
I'm not crazy.
So what's your relationship with especially your social media?
Yeah, I feel like my relationship with that has had to change in the last year because I was just getting so burnt out. And I was getting to the point where like I wasn't having one creative idea and I was resenting it. And I never wanted to get to a point where I resented it because I was like, it's my dream. It's literally my dream job. And I was resenting picking up my camera. I was resenting editing, staring at my phone, opening the Instagram app, all that kind of stuff. So I had to be like, give myself a bit of a reality check and be like, okay, like you need to, because I was just, and the thing is like, because it's something that I love doing and because it's something that, you know, is easy per se, it's so easy to just like jump on and do something. It's so easy to literally be working 24/7. Like other than when I'm sleeping, I was kind of working. Like you get an email and, you know, I work with some people who, like some brands that are overseas and they'll send an email at 12 p.m. at night. Or 12 a.m. that would be at night, or 10 p.m. at night or something like that. And you just I'll just quickly check it. I'll quickly reply. And then, you know, sometimes you're having meetings with people like 9 p.m. your time, so because it's like 7 a.m. their time or something like that. So it's very easy to like blur the lines. And then you get to a certain point, and Sam, honestly, my partner, has been the biggest like reminder of how it's not normal to do that. Because I just think when you have your own business, it's so easy to just, and when you love it, it's so easy to just do it all the time. And it's just like, oh, I'll just quickly send this email. I'll just quickly do this. And then you're like, oh, my brain hasn't actually like switched off for years. So, and then you wonder why you're not sleeping. And you're like, oh,
yeah,
it's all coming back to me. And so because I remember being on holidays with him. And he was like, so like you can take an hour off. Like we can like do this and you can not think about work. And it's just like kind of crazy because like when you work in a normal per se job, and I say that with like quotation marks, you go to a job, you do that and you come home and you don't really think about it. Like you go there and you work and then you come home and you don't. And even Sam's job, like he'll come home and he won't think about it until he has to be there the next day. And I'm just like, that was just such a foreign concept to me because I was just like, well, imagine not thinking about it when you're like falling asleep, waking up, doing everything. And so I had to just, he was like, that's not normal and you don't need to be doing that. I think that was a common misconception that I had too because I was like, because I work for myself, I need to be working all the time. Because it's like, it's me. It's like I am my business, so I need to be doing that all the time. And so he was a really good person. It really did get to the point where I was like, I hate making content right now. Like all of my creativity just went and I was like trying to feel excited about it and I couldn't. And it was such a weird feeling because I was like, I'm not excited. I don't want to be doing this right now. And funnily enough, that's when you kind of see the dips in your like views or your business. Then you're like, I'm failing. And then it's even more like, it's like more reasons in your mind that it's like you're bad at your job. And then anyway, so I really took a step back. I've started setting like, you can do like those like timers on social media. Started doing that. And just kind of like, like I was saying before, like my night routine is so pivotal and like my morning routine. So as soon as I go for that walk, I really, 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 really try to like not do anything on social media for the rest of the night. Even if I'm like, I start to think about it because you're a human, like your brain will instantly go to like your job or anything. And it's almost like having that thought, recognizing it, maybe even writing it down if you're like, oh, that's right, I need to do that tomorrow. And like, instead of like just keeping it in your brain, like putting it on paper and then like putting it away and then like doing something that really takes your mind off your job. So for me, it's reading. And I really like got into reading in the last like year because it takes my mind just so off. Like I can't really be reading this like fantasy world and then be thinking about like what I have to do tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Like reading is such a good way to switch off. And then I feel like it's as soon as I started switching off, like actually switching off, I'd wake up in the morning excited. And I'd wake up being like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to film this and like pick up my camera and edit and blah, blah, blah. And I think like taking a step back whenever I'm in a mood like that, and sometimes it'll happen, it's very normal. I feel like when you're in a business that's like on you and like very like creative based, take a step back, maybe take a week off. Sometimes I'd like to completely like leave social media. Sometimes I like to actually consume a bit more of it. You need to like see what you need to like know and be able to, and I feel like this comes out after time, but like know what you need. Do you need to sit and consume and get some like see what other people are doing and like see, you know, that like create, like spark some ideas, or do you need to just get off it and then come in like clean? And I feel like you can't like tell until you're in it. But I think sometimes you need to, for inspiration, you need to get it from taking inspiration from other people, and sometimes you need to do it from just completely switching off. So I feel like actually having a routine of switching off is like the only thing that actually keeps me kind of like excited.
Yeah. So that's so true, where you probably feel like you could always just do that little bit more.
Always.
Yeah.
And even with, and I wouldn't have it any other way, like I love it so much, but even with vlogging, like because I'm like filming my life, I'm filming dinner and then like I might be filming before bed. So it's like still technically work.
Yes.
And sometimes I've had to be like, don't pick up the camera right now, because even though you enjoy it and you love it, it'll still get your brain into that like work mode.
Yes.
And then you're thinking about it. Do you know what I mean?
This is really interesting hearing the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yes, because I think there's such a misconception, and correct me if I'm wrong, where people are like, oh my God, you literally just get to like film your day and it's just like an hour or two of your week and you just get paid. But I can imagine there's just so much that goes behind the scenes.
Yeah. I like, and it is such a great job and I love it. And, you know, a lot of it is just filming my day. And like, one of my favorite parts of my job is being able to travel and film it and call that work. Like that is just something that is just insane to me. But it also is like, yeah, a lot of just, I think just like mental, like it's just a lot. You're just constantly up in your head and that can get very suffocating sometimes.
Yeah, I can imagine you're like in a beautiful location or having a funny chat and then you're thinking, oh, should I film this?
Yeah, 100%, always. And then I've spoken about this to a lot of people who do it as well. So I like know it's probably a very common thing to feel, but that like guilt of like not getting content, which is silly because it just sounds so stupid to say.
Really?
But yeah, it's like
for your viewers, you feel guilty for not filming it.
Yeah. Because you're like, oh, that would have been great. Oh, like it's, and I never, like when I would watch YouTube when I was young, I never even would have considered people feeling like that. But you do, like sometimes I do something like, oh, like that I should have. And then that was another thing I needed to learn, that like sometimes you don't need to. And like, because when I was filming everything, that was when I then didn't look forward to actually filming anything.
Yes.
So that's the whole thing.
Ah, so many things. So before we recorded, you were talking about your manager.
Yes.
What does a manager do? Like, what does that mean? Do you know what I mean?
Do I know what you mean?
Do you know what I mean?
I do. Well, so for the first, I want to say like 4 years of doing social media and YouTube. I mean, for a while, it wasn't my job anyway, but I didn't have a manager and I did it all myself. And I was enjoying that. And then I got approached by a management and they were like, hey, like we basically are just like the middleman. So like if you work with brands, you don't need to like negotiate prices yourself, because that can be a bit weird. Like how much am I worth? Like, I don't know.
That can be hard, I could imagine.
Very weird. Like, oh, like I'm this much. And then I don't know. I found it very, very hard to kind of like do that for myself. So I was like, absolutely. So I was with this other management for a couple of years and they were great. They were like everything that I wanted and needed at the time. And then more recently I've moved to another manager, and it's just like she only has 3 talents, so she is a lot more like personal and we work together very, very close. I see her every week. I talk to her every single day. She's like my friend as well. And it's really great because not only does she work with the negotiation side for like brand deals and all that kind of stuff, but she's also just like, because this business is so isolating, especially like I'm so lucky to have a lot of friends who are YouTubers, so we're able to like discuss and be like, oh, do you feel this? They're like, yeah, I feel that. But other than that, like you're kind of at home like alone with a camera. Do you know what I mean? Or like you're going to the shops alone with the camera. So it can be very lonely and isolating. So having someone, whether that's like a business partner or a manager in my case, to just kind of like do it with you, it feels really, really nice. And, you know, sit down and I'm feeling really like this. I'm like, yeah, okay, like let's talk about how we can change this so you're no longer feeling like that. Like it's just like, I think life is, as humans, like we're supposed to be collaborative and we're supposed to be bouncing ideas off each other. So I think more so, I call her my manager because that's what she is, but she's also just like someone to confide in, and she's just like someone to bounce ideas off. And like when I'm feeling stuck, she'll, you know, kind of like get me out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That must be really special that she has, there's only 3 of you guys that she manages, because then she can really get to know like your values and like what brands you'd actually want to partner with. Whereas I can imagine if you're with a bigger management, they might just like be like, oh yeah, here's a bunch of lists. Whereas she's like, yeah, but she's not going to vibe with those brands.
Yes, 100%. And like the big managements, it makes sense for them to give you all of that stuff, because they might get an offer and they'll be like, oh, we'll give it to her.
Yeah,
anyway, we don't know. But yeah, like for my manager now, she's like, oh, like this like weird company reached out. Like I'm like, I know you wouldn't say yes to that. So like I just said no for you. Or like, you know, there'll be a few be like, I'm assuming you're saying no to this, but just making sure. And I'm like, yeah, definitely not. And I'm not the type of person who loves to take a lot of brand deals anyway. So it's really nice having someone who knows what I align with and knows what I'm keen for. And, you know, when I get a really, really exciting brand that like I've wanted to work with for years, she like gets the excitement. She's like, oh my gosh, you just wait. Like she'll call me. She'll like, guess what? Just like, guess who just emailed me or something like that. And it'll be so exciting. And it's really nice having that person to bounce off.
Yeah, it seems as though there's not many brands I can think of off the top of my head that you've associated with. Yeah. Have you rejected like a lot of?
Yeah, heaps. I feel like back in the day, I would definitely say yes to more just because I was like new to it and it was just all exciting. And like, obviously I would like see a brand and I would be like, oh, I'd love to work with him. Like that'd be so cool. But I think now where I'm at, I'm just so picky with who I work with. I think for a couple of reasons. One, I want my viewers to trust what I say is like genuine, and I would never, ever, ever want to promote something and it like not be what I'm saying it is. And then someone's like gotten a product that I promoted and been like, oh, this is not good. Now I don't trust anything Soph says. And it's just like having a friend. Like if a friend was like, oh my gosh, like you need these Crocs.
Well, you do.
I'm looking at them and I need them. I'll be like, yeah, I do. But like imagine if they were like actually really bad. I'm like, oh, like I'm not going to listen to anything you say ever again.
Yeah.
So I think it's like very similar. And also from, again, watching YouTube for so long, it's, you don't want to just be like spoken to like an ad all the time. Like it's just not what I love to consume. So I would never want to be like giving that out. So I'm so picky with the brands that I work with, and being on a long-term basis with a lot of brands too, because then people are always like, oh, she clearly actually like loves this. You know, I've been using some things for like years at this point, and I think that's when people are like, okay, like I trust that she actually wears this, uses that, like all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's crazy because sometimes also having a manager, I don't see a lot of the emails. And even I came from my manager before this and we were sitting at a computer and just all of these emails were coming up. And she was like, you would have no idea about all of the like brand deals that I get, and just like don't say anything because like there's just some like crazy ones out there. I can imagine. Like crazy. Or the funniest ones when they're like, hi dear, we saw your TikTok. Like it's so like unpersonal.
Yeah.
You're just like, yeah. Or like I've gotten the wrong name like so many times. And they're like, oh, like, hi Georgina, or like hi like Alex, and I'm like, oh, wrong person.
Doll. That also must like clear your head and time so much, not having to think about any 100%. Imagine having to manage all those emails yourself.
And then it's like it's one thing to do it and then like also be creative, because like my manager will come to me and be like, okay, this brand deal, what are we thinking? And I'm like, okay, like it's you see it from a different perspective because you're coming from the creative side rather than the like more like
business,
business and like factual kind of side. So it's like, okay, like I'm thinking this and like, yeah, and then we bounce ideas off. So it's really nice just to be able to like focus on the actual content, because that's what I love. Like I didn't want to be a YouTuber so I could like negotiate prices and email all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I can imagine. So Gymshark, so last year you and Georgia got to go to the headquarters, do a photo shoot.
Yeah.
What was that like, and what is it like being part of the Gymshark team? Because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's many Australian Gymshark athletes.
Yeah, no, there's not at all. So
and what was it like when they reached out? Can we start there? Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought it was spam. So at the time I was reached out to, I also didn't have a management at all. And so I got this email from this girl being like, hi, I work at Gymshark. I'd love to jump on a call with you. And I'm being like, cool? Like, that's terrifying. Like, I'm just this little girl. Like, I post my YouTube videos. Like, what are you talking about? And so I was like, oh, this is surely spam. But then like at the bottom, like it had all of like the details. I was like, oh, like maybe it's not spam. And so I replied back being like, yeah, absolutely. Would love to jump on a call. Let me know what time would work for you, kind of thing. And she was like, okay, well, because I'm based in the UK, can we do like 7 p.m. your time, which is like 9 a.m. my time or something. I was like, okay. So I remember like being at my house and just like sweating, waiting for this call. And she just calls me and she's like, hi, Sophie. And she was Australian, and I'm now really good friends with her, but she was Australian. Australian, lived in Brisbane, grew up here, blah, 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 and then moved over. And so she was so like great to chat to. And she was like, oh my gosh, I've loved your videos. I see so much potential in you, because I was still like relatively small at this stage. She's like, I see so much potential in you, and I'd love to start working together. And I was like, you're kidding me. Like, this isn't real. And she was like, but like, take your time. Like, you don't feel the need to respond straight away. Like, well, I was like, yes. Like,
obviously, yes.
I don't need to know anything more. And so we started working together on like a kind of just like a month-to-month basis, just to kind of see how it worked together, like picking some activewear, creating some content around it. And I've always loved Gymshark, but Gymshark was just like a brand that I never thought I would work with, because they're like, just like, they're Gymshark, like such a huge brand. And then so I just remember like, and I remember my first post that I put like in paid partnership with Gymshark. I was like, how? Like, how is that real? Do you know what I mean? There it is. I think I got signed like just before COVID, or maybe actually I think it was after COVID like started. So obviously we couldn't travel. And the whole time I remember talking to my Gymshark manager, and she's like, we want you over, but like obviously we just can't. Blah, blah. I was like, absolutely. So finally, when we could, Georgia and I were like, let's get on the first plane to go, because we just wanted to for so long. And it was so surreal, like getting the tour around there and like seeing the huge shark at the beginning, like the start of the building. Like, it was just insane. It was so surreal, because you watch people doing it like online. And I think just like my entire time doing YouTube and social media, like you just kind of forget that you're also doing it. Do you know, like I see other people, I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like, oh, but that's me too.
Wow. Okay, so you're still do you have imposter syndrome?
Hugely. I remember last year we had a Gymshark event, and there was like this moment where the photographer was like, all right, all athletes, like, let's get a photo. And I remember standing there, and like there was a crowd of people watching us, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, the imposter syndrome, I've never felt it more in my entire life. I just remember being like, what? Like, this is such a crazy feeling. Like, I should be down there. I should be with the crowd staring up. Like, it was so surreal.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are the Gymshark family cool?
So cool. Like, I feel like the thing I love most about Gymshark is how much they feel like a family.
Aww.
And honestly, like all of the brands that I work with now have the same feeling. And I think that's why I'm even more picky with brands now, because I'm like, even if the brand is great and I might love the product, like how are they to actually work with? How do they feel, do they like respect? Is it like a back and forth respect kind of thing? Or is it just like they see you as like a number on a screen? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love that, like, it's like back and forth, like really collaborative kind of feel with the brand. And that's how I kind of like look for, obviously, firstly, loving whatever I'm promoting, and then what's the brand stand for, what are its values, who am I going to be dealing with, all that kind of thing.
Which is very important, I can imagine. Yeah. Have you met Ben yet?
Okay, I need to tell you a story about the time that I met him.
Wait, the time you met Ben?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, so my story is...
and it goes something like this.
It goes something a little bit like this. So I was in the Gymshark training, what's it called? Gymshark lifting club. That's the one.
So you're just like doing your own little workout.
Yeah.
What did that feel like?
Crazy. Because a lot of the people who work for Gymshark train at that gym, just like daily.
True.
So it was like quite busy, like heaps of people training. Anyway, Ben just walks in and I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's the owner of Gymshark. Yep. And George was like, oh my gosh, like we were just staying there. We were just like, oh my gosh. And then I'm standing up near where you like fill your water bottle up at the gym. He walks over. He goes, hi. I'm smiling. I'm like, hi. Silent. And then he goes, he's filling up his water bottle, and he's like, oh, good day, having a good day. Obviously, he like, doesn't know who I am. Like, he's the owner of Gymshark. He just assumes I work with Gymshark. I'm like, yeah. I'm just staring at him like with literal star eyes. And then he walks away. George is looking at me, pissing herself with laughter. She's like, what did you just do? I was like, I don't know. I've never experienced that in my life. Like, it was just so like crazy. This person who's just like done such crazy things. I just listened to a podcast with him on the Diary of a CEO. Just listen to that. Like, you're just standing right in front of me. And then he goes over and does his workout. And the whole time I'm just like working out, like looking at him like, like what? So crazy.
He was like, wow, we hired a really socially awkward person.
It's like, who is this? Surely not on like communications or something. I was like, hi. But I'm like, surely he gets it a lot. Right? And then a lot of people were going up to him, like having conversations with him while he was doing his workout. I was like, oh, like surely that gets annoying.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Like, he's just trying to work out.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to be like that.
Yeah. You just said it.
I was like, it's just me being respectful.
I just envisioned that whole thing and it was awkward.
It was. I have this one photo. I'm not sure if you want to, like, I can send it to you. You can insert it.
Please.
It's me. It's me standing there and he's like in the background. I just like wanted a photo, so it's just me like holding like the thumbs up and he's just like, well, like 10 meters over there.
And we'll insert it here.
Here it is. You're welcome. Hope you enjoyed that secondhand embarrassment.
Ooh, huge.
I need to bring myself back down after that anyway.
Okay, so YouTube obviously seems like the whole amazing, beautiful 75% want to do it. Yeah. What are some of the negatives that people don't realize about YouTube? Talk to us about the dark side.
dark side of YouTube.
Dark side of YouTube.
I think what I was saying before of not being able to switch off is a huge one. I think sometimes as much as you love it, you don't feel like being on camera. You don't feel like pulling out a camera and being like, and just, you know, you're having a day where your skin's breaking out and you're feeling you haven't slept well and you're feeling unmotivated and everything. And sometimes you're just like, oh, the idea of like just picking up my camera right now and almost like, because you never know, like, you know, this vlog is going out to tens of thousands of people. So it's just like, oh, sometimes you just want to like curl up in a little shell and like not be seen by the world. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think.
Not really, but yeah. I can imagine.
Not at all. I mean, like, you know, sometimes there's days you just don't want to leave your house. And I feel like it's like that kind of thing. Because like you just don't want, and you know, probably one of the biggest dark sides of YouTube is the hate that you can get. When a lot of people are viewing your life, they like to pick apart your life. And they like to pick apart your relationships with your friends and your family and everything, and the way you brush your teeth in the morning and what you have for breakfast. And sometimes there's just like everything you say and do is wrong, and everything, like, you just can't say anything right. Like there will be someone who finds something in anything that you could say that they'll give hate, you know, give you hate for. And so I think that's like the biggest thing when you're feeling a bit like, oh, I don't really want to be on camera today. Like I feel shit. I just don't feel great. And then sometimes you're like, no, but like my community is my community. Like I'd talk to a friend like this. I'll talk to my subscribers like this or whatever. And then you pick up your camera and you film yourself in that down mood and you're just like, oh, not feeling great, blah, blah. Then you post it. And to be fair, 95% of comments are beautiful, people supporting. And then there's that 5% that's like, you like need to die, you need to like,
what?
Yeah, like you never post.
Sorry, I didn't mean to smile at that. It's just like so.
It's like crazy. Like you are worth nothing. I can't believe you've like just everything you could say that I've heard a comment on. Do you know what I mean?
Sheesh.
And so sometimes it's like when you're already feeling like that, and then you read those comments and you're like, oh, like I shouldn't have even posted. You know what I mean? And you can kind of get really down. And I had a stage last year where there's this website, I won't name it, but there's this website that's like dedicated to hating on people online.
What?
Yes, full like picture like Gossip Girl, but like just rude. Like nothing like constructive criticism. Like I'm all down for some constructive criticism, and sometimes viewers have been like, hey, so if like you did this means this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize, or so true, I didn't think about like that. Like we're human, we're gonna need constructive criticism in our lives. But then there's just like pure hate. Like, oh, did you see how she did this? Oh, did you see how ugly she looked today? Oh, did you see she had this for breakfast? Like, yeah, she's so toxic. Like all of this kind of thing.
Oh,
literally
dear.
pages. And so I found this website because someone told me about it.
Oh, no. You didn't go on it. Sophie.
I did. I decided to self-sabotage that day.
Decided to hate on myself.
Yeah. And there were like 40 pages. Like, you know, it's like next. And there was just like so many pages of just like pure hate about me and all my friends. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, because I don't get too much hate. Like, I feel like my community is just like so beautiful that like, yeah, there's the occasional comment, but there's nothing crazy. I'm like, oh, this is where they all are. Like, this is where all the hate comments are. And like people picking apart like my relationship with Sam. I'm like, oh, like it was insane to read it all in one go.
You just sat there and read it.
I just sat it all. I was still sitting on the toilet, just if you want a visual. Yep, just flicking through it all. And I was like, oh, and my stomach, like, you know when you just like read something and your stomach just drops. And then I was just like, cool, so I'm never posting anything ever again kind of thing. Oh. And it took me probably like a couple of weeks to like kind of get over it, because it was just...
Did you not post between those?
Yeah.
Really? So you just had a pause?
Yeah, I think I just like was just like, oh my gosh, this is what everyone feels like. Reading that made me think that everyone that follows me now thinks that.
No, it's like the minority who are just really sad.
Yeah, like that's what you're spending your time doing.
Yeah.
Like you can think that, sure, but like you're then spending your time talking about it. Like,
happy, kind people don't spend their time doing that.
Yeah. And I remember talking to someone, and it was one of my friends, and she said people like above you in the sense, like people doing better than you will never shit on you and will never like say bad things. Like it's only the people that, you know, are not happy, are miserable in their lives that they feel the need to actually tear someone down. Like someone like Ben Francis, for example, would never sit there and be like, oh, Sophie, she's just so ugly. And like, oh, like what is she even doing with her life? Like she's just so annoying. He couldn't care less because he's doing better. Like not even better, like, you know what I mean? But like he's just like, he's killing life. So like why would he need to sit there and pull apart other people? Anyway, I had that realization. I was like, oh, like that's quite sad that people are actually sitting there doing that. And like also, if you hate me that much, like it's actually a choice to click on my YouTube videos at the end of the day.
Yeah, no one's forcing you to watch it.
Yeah. You don't have to follow me. You don't have to see my stories, see anything. And so I was like you're still choosing to watch me even though you hate me. So I was just kind of like, oh, like I don't mind if you hate me, just don't watch it and then you won't need to worry about it. So I think I just kind of got to a point and then all of a sudden it was like I just grew a bit of thicker skin and then I was just like, oh, like I don't care at all. And now honestly, like I could read mostly any comment and it would go over my head now because I'm just like, I don't care.
She's like, I read it all on that website.
I read it literally all. You couldn't surprise me. And I was also like, if the people I surround myself in my life, I'm so picky on because I want people who are, you know, genuine good people around me. None of them would do that. So why would I listen to other people who are, if that makes sense? Like, why would I listen to these people who are saying the worst things, not only about me, but about like so many people online when like I wouldn't take advice from them because like who wants advice from someone doing that? You know what I mean? So I think that is probably the hardest part. Sometimes when you're just like, oh, like I don't want to say anything that's going to upset anyone because it's like at the end of the day, like I said before, like we're human. We're going to say things that aren't exactly true or a mistake or, you know, you word things that you don't mean in that way and people take it a certain way. So I think just like overanalyzing every single thing you ever say can get a bit like, whew, sometimes.
Yeah, that'll be hard. And then feeling like you need to justify everything you say.
Yes. Yep. And then I'm always like, I feel annoying for justifying it. But then if I don't, then I'll just get hate. And then I'm just like, yeah.
Totally. Do you know Sarah's Day?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been watching Sarah's Day for ages and like her community was wholesome. And then suddenly out of nowhere, she kind of like, she got like a tiny bit bigger and then I swear the tiny bit extra, which is all so mean. And I was like, God.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's as soon as people hit like a certain like point, maybe it's like where they're deemed as successful now that they're easier to hate on.
Yeah, because they're so big, people are like, oh, my comment won't get read.
Yeah. Or like you're not even like a human anymore.
Yeah, I can
it's
imagine.
like when you're like growing, you're still,
people think that.
Yeah, like you're still maybe like working another job and you're still like normal, and then you almost like you get to a point that maybe people just think, oh, like you're now no longer like a human, you're like this influencer. So now I can, you know, like pick apart everything you say and do like you would a movie character. But it's like we're not characters. We're like there's humans behind the screen and like a human sitting on the toilet reading all of these comments.
How long were you on the toilet
Oh, like probably like over an hour. Like Sam thought I was just having a good old scroll, but I was like, not a good old scroll.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was a time and a half. That was last year though. And then I had my whole kind of growth, and I came back this year being like, I'm just going to be myself, and here we are.
Yeah. Thriving.
Sliving, if you will.
Sliving. We love to sliv. There was something I was about to ask. Hopefully it'll come back. But whilst we're waiting for that idea to pop into my head, what I do want to ask about is that ring on your finger. You are engaged. Yes. How old are you?
24.
Oh, I'm 24. When's your birthday?
17th of June.
I'm 20th of July.
Oh, what's that make you star sign wise?
Cancer. Yeah.
Yeah, my best friend's Cancer.
Oh, there we go.
We get along well.
What's your star sign? Gemini.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of them mean.
No, I don't.
So sorry.
I know mine and like a few of my friends.
You know when people are like, oh, there's such a Leo. I'm like, what?
Sure.
So you're engaged.
I am.
How does it feel?
It feels not real, actually. Like, so I just stare at my ring all the time because I'm just like, wow. And then it's like some people are like, oh, it's like, when's the wedding? Like, where are you getting married? Like, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we haven't started like planning or anything yet because, well, we want to have like not a long engagement, but a couple of years because we just want to enjoy the process of like actually planning a wedding and being in fiancés, because you're only fiancés once in your life. Like, you might as well, I mean, my opinion is like, I just want to enjoy it and like not stress. And one of my friends just got married, and she was like, it was so stressful and like very rushed and all that kind of thing. Not even rushed, but like it just is so much to organize.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want it to just feel like fun and not even relaxing, but like, you know, just be like a really fun like project almost to work on. So we haven't like set a date. We don't have a venue or anything yet, but it is just so surreal. And even being like, oh, like my fiance, like that's insane. And sometimes Sam and I just like sit and we just start laughing because like we're engaged. Like that's crazy because we met each other when we were 18. Like how are we 18 and now we're like 24 and engaged? Like it's crazy. And even because we were engaged like he proposed overseas. And so the whole time we were overseas, it just like felt this like this dream, this bubble. And then almost getting home set it in a little bit more because I was like, oh, now I'm at home and I'm seeing all these people being like, congratulations. Like, okay, like it feels more real now. You know,
Wow.
but it still doesn't feel real. Like I think maybe when we start like looking maybe at wedding venues, when I start going wedding dress shopping, that kind of thing, I'll start to feel a little bit more like this is happening.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy because I've just been pinning like wedding ideas for years as like a hypothetical situation. Like, oh, like that'd be great. Like, I love that idea. Now it's like, it's not hypothetical anymore. Like now I'm like actually like, oh, we should actually look into that. It's crazy, but it's so exciting.
Oh, as I told you before we recorded, I was just having a little scroll of your page and I rewatched the video of the proposal and it just like is so special. And I really liked that you couldn't hear what was being said and just your reaction and everything. But like, when he asked you to turn around, did you know that he was about to do it?
Okay, so here's the story. The whole time, because we went away for 6 weeks and we were traveling for 6 weeks, and the whole time we were traveling, he was so really into getting good photos and getting good videos, and I just thought like, wow, like he's really just getting into like
he's
my
really
job.
stepping up.
Yeah, he's really
Boyfriends
just like
of Instagram.
literally, I was just like, wow, like pop off king, like that's so great for you. Like
Pop off king.
We'd be sitting like in our Airbnb in London first day. And you're just like, oh, like, let's have a little, like, video while we eat our lunch. And I was like, perfect. Like, I wasn't doing any of the beautiful content that you saw, like, on that trip. 9 times out of 10, he was the one, like, setting it up.
Oh, I love that.
I know. I was just like, wow, like, this is great. And then so when we were in Greece, and we were, like, 5 weeks into our holiday, like 4.5, 5 weeks into our holiday. And he was like, oh, we haven't like gotten any like nice photos in Greece yet. Do you want to tonight? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like before we go out to dinner. So we'd be like dressed up nice, blah, blah, blah. I was like, absolutely. Anyway, that day that he did it, he was like really, really sick, like with a cold. So we woke up and he was like, oh, I'm like not doing too well. I need to go into town and like get some like flu stuff and like make myself feel kind of better. I'm like, absolutely.
Was he actually sick?
No, he actually was.
Oh, okay.
I know. Anyway, so he had some like flu tablets and stuff, and he started to feel a bit better. So we like walked around, like explored, blah, 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 came back to our accommodation. We had this beautiful like private like pool area, which is where he did it. But we spent like all day just like in the pool, like lounging and just like chatting and like having like really great chats. So I remember it just being like a really, really good day. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym before dinner. So I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I'm just at the gym. I'm having to go to work out. I'm literally filming. I'm like, hey guys, like just in the gym, like just doing my workout. It's really, really hot in here, but look at my view. Like I'm just like fully oblivious. And then I get downstairs, like I walk back to our room and I'm having a shower and he's like, yeah, like, do you want to still take photos before we go out to dinner? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Again, he's been doing this the whole trip. So I was just like, didn't think of anything of it. Anyway, we get up there, like he'd set up the tripod, which again, he'd been doing the whole trip. So I stand up there and he like lifts me up and I'm just like, and I'm just like, oh, like, yeah, like this might be okay. Like I didn't really like know what kind of shot he was after. So I was just like, yeah. And then when he turns me, he's like, oh, and again, you like can't see it in the video because I've like muted it and it's with music, but he goes, oh, like maybe just turn this way. And so he pushes me like away from him to face the other direction. And in my mind at that time, instead of being like, oh my gosh, he's about to propose, I was like, this is going to look awful.
Yeah.
Like, because it looked like he was about to do like a Titanic shot.
Yeah.
Like where I was like this and he was behind
Or
me.
like an awkward prom photo in America, how they do that. And I'm like,
literally, like that is what the vibe I was getting. I was like, oh, like this is going to look bad. So I'm turning around and then he goes, maybe if I just kneel down. And as I'm like halfway turned and I see him kneeling down, I was like that is when the ball dropped. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is happening right now. So in the video, you see me, I turn back around and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like just the whole time I was thinking, this is happening. Like this is happening right now. And then he like forces me, he's like, turn back around and stare at me like I'm trying to say something right now. And so then I was like looking down at him and I can still like picture it in my mind, like just looking down and he's just like looking up at me on one knee, and like he's getting like his eyes are getting a bit like teary, and I'm just getting a bit teary, and I was like, what's going on? Like, what? And then he's like pulls out the ring, and it's actually a blur. Like I don't even remember what I said. I barely remember what he said. It was just like a whole moment in itself. It was insane.
I feel like I was there. Thank you for sharing. I have heard that you just kind of like black out.
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't remember it. Like, I'm glad we have it on camera because, like, I don't remember, like, if I was like, or if I was like, oh, like, I didn't realize how many times I turned away. And I cut out so many moments. Like, from the video that you can see on, like, Instagram and YouTube, I cut out so many times where I just turned back around. And he was like, turn around. I was like, I just can't believe this is happening right now.
Why were you facing the wrong way?
I don't know. It was almost like I needed to, like, take a sec to, like, be like, okay, now I can turn around. Like,
oh my God.
It was crazy. And like your heart is just like racing. You're like, I'm getting proposed. Like this is happening right now. Like it was crazy.
So what did it feel like when you were like, yes?
It was just the most surreal feeling because I feel like I mean, at least for me, I grew up being like, oh, like one day when you get proposed to, like you kind of like picture it in your head, like of what it will feel like and everything like that. But it's just like this feeling of just like, oh, like I can't even describe it, just like this surrealness, but then just like, oh my gosh, that just happened. And then it's like the afterwards where you're like, oh my gosh, they tell me everything. Like how he's had the ring for now over a month and we've been traveling. I'm like, okay.
Where did he hide it?
He hid it in his checked baggage, rolled up in a t-shirt that he wasn't going to wear on the holiday in like a packing cube for the 4.5 weeks. And I was like, the amount of trains that we went on where like our bags were just like on another thing. And he was like, yeah, but like, he's like, I got insurance on it. I was just like, the guts on him. I love it. But
wow.
He was like, because I was like, interesting that you didn't have it on you, like in your backpack or something. And he was like, yeah, but I feel like that's so much easier to like grab and you could have gone digging and then like found it. And I was like, you're not wrong. But that was the other thing that like threw me off the scent because before going on the trip, a lot of my friends were like, do you reckon he'll propose, blah, blah, blah. Because we'd talked, obviously, when you've been with someone for such a long time, like you talk about if you want to get married and when you want to get married and stuff. And I was like, oh, like maybe, I really don't know. Maybe if he's going to do it anytime in the next year, like maybe he'll choose this trip. Because it's like, you know, we're going away. It's kind of fun. And then when it got to like over a few weeks into the holiday, I was just like, it's not happening. Like,
were you sad about that?
I thought I was going to be. I remember friends asking me that, being like, are you going to be sad if he doesn't? Yeah. And I was like, at the time, like, oh, like maybe. And then I think because we were having such a good time on the holiday, I was like, this is going to be the most memorable trip of my life regardless. So it honestly, and it was like the first few weeks, I was like, oh. And then when he was setting the tripod up for the first few weeks, I was like, oh. And then nothing would come of it. And so I was just like, okay, definitely not. And so by the time we were in Greece, which was like basically the end of our holiday, I was like, oh, like fully off the scent. And he was like, yeah, that was my plan all along. I was like, you sneaky.
That's sneaky man. Yeah. Go Sam.
I know, he really did that.
Was it the easiest yes of your life?
It really was. At first, I don't think I even like said yes. Like I was just like in so much shock. And he was like, is that a yes? And I was like, yeah. I think I was just like nodding my head. He's like, you've got to actually say yes. I was like, oh, yes. But it really was. It was just like, I had no doubt about it. So yeah, it's just crazy. I know.
This is so beautiful. Vibes. Mulaney, Montville.
Yeah, we're not honestly sure. We've got like a few different ideas of like the vibe because I feel like you need to like pick your venue before you like pick the vibe of the whole wedding. You know what I mean? Oh. Like it's like, oh, do you want farm? Do you want like more beach or like water?
Farm. A little bit outback one.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
I've got a Pinterest board. There's a few ideas.
You guys ride up in a horse?
I'd like to pronounce you just on horses.
And the priest is on a horse as well.
The horse is like... The rings are just like on a horse. No, we really want our dogs to walk down the aisle with the rings on their collars.
Yes. 100% yes.
Easiest yes of my life. How cute will that be? Although my dogs probably won't run to us. Like they'll be so distracted by everyone else. So they're like,
yeah. And you're like,
we've got the rings coming. But I'm so excited. I think that'll be like something next year that we really start planning is the wedding.
Yeah.
I think it's been really fun the last few months to just like be in a bubble of like, it's so exciting, but we're not planning anything yet.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, let's start planning.
Love. My heart actually feels so happy just hearing that. Don't you just love love?
I do love love. I really do.
Oh, I'm one of those cringy people. Anyway. Okay, so we like to end the podcast with the Fast Five.
Oh, no.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
It's rapid fire, hot, quick questions. I ask, you answer whatever comes to your mind. It's never usually quick, so don't panic, okay? Okay. This is going to be hard for you, actually. What's your favorite book you've ever read?
Oh, don't do that to me.
I mean, most people say self-development stuff, but we can go fantasy or your bad.
Fantasy. Okay.
Stay calm.
There's a book and I can't remember the name of it, and it's so good. It's like Things I Learn About Life by Dolly someone. Oh, like I want to Google it so I can give you the exact name. Can I?
Yeah, go for it.
Can I phone a friend?
Yeah, you can phone a friend. Oh, my feet are getting a bit sweaty in these Crocs.
No, I'm getting a bit sweaty in this outfit.
Should have pumped that aircon.
Okay, it is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. And it's just like her telling stories about like her life in her 20s, and it's such a good read.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Also, this is a bit more niche if you have struggled with like eating in the past. But there's a book called Just Eat It, and that like really, really helped me when I was kind of going through a phase of struggling with like eating and that whole life path.
Yeah.
So that's a really good book too.
Okay. Cool.
But then like fantasies like start the ACOTAR series just quietly.
Wait, what does that stand for again?
A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Oh, I'm reading that at the moment. I'm on the second book.
Are you enjoying?
Yeah, I am. I'm a slow reader.
Okay.
My housemate keeps being like, "What part are you up to?" And I'm like, "I read 2 pages last night." Okay, so it's a slow.
Chapter 1. No, I reckon from like the middle from that book onwards is just like you can't put it down.
Okay.
It's so good. Oh my gosh. I mean, I could sit here for 10 minutes talking about books, so I'll stop there.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, what is your favorite quote?
Ooh. That's a really great question. This is such a cheesy one. This is like the first one that's come into my mind, so I'm just going to use... I've got so many. Okay. Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Oh,
That's
love
one.
it.
The other one is you could be the juiciest, ripest peach in the world, but some people don't like peaches. Great one. Third one is, I'll just give you a list, is the, we'll bring it back full circle to the lottery ticket one. It's not really a quote. It's more of an analogy.
It's a metaphor, but it's good.
Yeah.
I think nothing changes if nothing changes is perfect, because if I ever find myself like complaining about a situation that I know I have control over, I tell myself, Andy, nothing changes if nothing changes, so take action.
So change. Change it.
Yes.
That was me with sleep for so long. Like I was like going on my phone before bed and then like waking up in a bad mood, and I was like, oh, why and then I wasn't like wanting to fuel myself with like the right food and all that kind of stuff, and I was like, something's actually got to change here, and then I changed it.
It's amazing what happens when you...
It's amazing what happens.
Okay, what is the most pivotal, life-changing advice you've ever received? It can be a few.
Okay.
Also, what size feet do you have? They look really small. I'm so sorry.
I'd love that. What was the most pivoting, life-changing thing? Also, your feet are tiny. I'm a size 7.
Oh, yeah, no, same. You'd fit my Crocs. You can borrow them if you want.
I'm going to need to with those gibbets. I love it. Okay, back to my most life-changing pivotal moment. I think when my dad told me bigger picture, think of the bigger picture here. Like that was a huge like moment where I was like, I needed to hear that. Also drop your ego. I feel like you don't realize until you've done some like self-reflecting work and like becoming self-aware how much your ego plays into like so much that you do say and like are as a person. And as soon as I kind of like dropped my ego, I was like, wow, you become so much more of a self-aware person. You become a better friend, girlfriend, daughter, everything. Like drop your ego and watch where it plays in where you don't think it is.
Okay, now I'm going to be noticing my old ego.
Coming back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
It always is there.
Sorry?
It's always ego.
Oh, sorry. You said it's always there, but I heard it's always there. Okay. If you could embed a mindset or a habit into the listeners' ears to better them as a human being, what would it be?
Great question. Thanks. You're like, thanks, I thought of myself. Okay. Oh, like I don't want to say anything too like cheesy, but at the end of the day, you can't pour from an empty cup. So little things like how I was saying before, how I prioritize my morning and my night so much. And that's something that I am selfish about, and that I'm so grateful that I can be selfish in this part of my life, that I can prioritize myself in the morning and the night. That fills me up so then I can be a better person, a better businesswoman, a better, again, like wife.
Whoa.
Not yet, girly. Settle down. Wow. I'm already there mentally. Fiance, friend, everything. Like, if you are empty, you can just simply not show up as the person that you want to be every single day. And if you've got goals, you just can't be achieving those goals when you're empty, and when your fuel is like on empty. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
And start saying, you know what I mean, because it really changes life.
It does, because then people will clarify and they'll be like, yeah.
They'll be like, I do. And you're
Sometimes
like, cool.
I'll say that to my boss. I'm like, you know what I mean? He's like, yeah, no, I do.
You're like, you please know what I mean?
Give me clarification.
Yeah.
Okay, the last question I have for you.
Okay.
If you could go back in time and be in the same room of Sophie, who has not made it yet on YouTube, but has been doing it for a year and is like feeling a bit resentful and angry, or assuming this is how you were feeling, of not popping off, what would you tell her?
Oh, I'd tell her the lottery ticket analogy, because I've only learned that more recently. And I was like, I think I would have loved to know that back in the day. I would tell her to just like not care when people make fun of her, because one day those people will be like congratulating her on doing such a good job. And I would tell her that it is all worth it. All of the moments where you're questioning it, all of the moments where you're staying up late to do it, like it is worth it, because you will be living your dream one day.
That is incredible. Perfect way to end the podcast. Is there anything else you wanted to sprinkle in, or you feel?
I feel pretty good about that.
Feel satisfied?
I do feel satisfied.
Content.
Yeah, content of you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for
know
having me.
a lot of homies are like, come on my podcast. So I feel very flattered that you chose me. Thanks.
It takes a great person for me to say yes. And I heard your voice note and I was like, it's a yes.
Yes.
You were like, my dogs are running around. I was like, oh, same. No, I've loved it. Thank you so much. I'm honoured.
And if people want to find you on Instagram and YouTube, what are your handles?
Sophie Jayne Miller on Instagram and Sophie Jayne on YouTube.
Perfect. You know what? I just can't not say your like full name.
Sophie Jayne Miller.
Yeah. It's just so perfect.
It's so funny because it just feels like almost like a stage name.
Oh.
It's like Sophie Jayne Miller. And sometimes I'll get packages in the mail and people will be like, oh, I'll go to like get a pay slip and the pay slip.
Hey?
I'll go to the post office with a slip.
Oh,
like
yeah.
A package.
Postage.
Package slip is what I was after.
Perfect.
Pay slip. And I'll be like, yeah. So I'll hand in my license. And they'll be like, Sophie Jayne Miller, like that's very. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, it's just what I go by. Like I just like make up a silly excuse every single time. But it's just, yeah, it doesn't feel like, it feels like a stage name. It doesn't feel like my name, which it is.
It just really rolls off the tongue.
I'm just Soph.
Soph. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Soph. Well, guys, if you did enjoy this episode, feel free to screenshot it, put it on your stories and share it around. You can come join the party on Instagram at Attitudes with Andy, and you can follow and subscribe on whatever platform you're on. And that's enough plugging for today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you all, and I'll see you next week. Oh, bye.
Bye.